Hello, my name's Sue Lewis, and this is a recording of a webinar we did for parents on the 24th of April 2024. This session is aimed at parents of children who will be going on from sixth form or college, and it's going to show you the different options available. We'll also be using a website called Career Pilot, and you can see the address there. And all the information I'm talking about will be on Career Pilot. So what we're going to talk about in this session is what young people need to consider to make that informed career decision about what they're going to do next. I'll run you through the different pathways available at 18. I'll talk a little bit about how you can help your young person make an informed decision, and I'll show you where to go for all the information, which will be on the Career Pilot website. So this is the Career Pilot website. It's like a one-stop careers website. It's aimed at year 11 right up to year 13 or the first to second year of college. This is the homepage, just to show you around. These are our popular tools at the top, information about jobs and courses, local providers. But we're also trying to encourage students to learn how to make a good quality career decision. So this is a decision-making process. Start with yourself. What are your motivations and interests? Explore your options, plan your next steps. And under each of these sections, there'll be quite a lot of activities. Then below that, there are all the different pathways. So a student could click on a pathway, and there'll be ones about higher education, apprenticeship, and find lots of information about that particular pathway with advice about what to talk about, what to look at. Also, it's free for any young person in the schools that are attending today to get young people to register on the site. And the benefit of registering is that they get access to all our career tools. So everything they're looking at, when they like something, they could save it here, and that will create a report for them. And that report moves up every year, and they own their account until they're 20. So it's definitely worth getting them to do that if they haven't done that already. So what does the future look like for young people? Well, careers in the past, maybe we all went through this particular system where it was quite kind of a stepped approach, if you like. You started on one step and then maybe got promoted to another step, and maybe you were lucky enough to get right to the top of the steps. Well, it's really different now with automation, with changes that are happening in the workplace. We call them, it's more like squiggly careers. You could have several careers in your lifetime, and you might be moving from one type of career to another. So it's really important that young people know how to make a good quality decision, but also know what's happening in the labour market. So we know artificial intelligence is changing jobs. Some jobs will go, some jobs there'll be less of, but some jobs will grow. And these four sectors are predicted to grow. And there will be others too, but I'm just flagging up the big ones. Medical, health, science and care, digital data and IT, engineering and construction, and environmental green. There's going to be a lot of growth in green jobs. So there's academic and vocational routes into all these jobs, and we'll mention them as we go through. It's also important that young people develop skills, because these are seen as transferable from one job to another. So this is a list of essential skills you need in all work situations. Obvious things like listening, speaking, being able to solve problems, being creative, and that relates to problem solving, staying positive and aiming high, leadership and teamwork. So those are the 8 essential skills. There will be others as well, but these are the 8 we're really hoping that young people can develop, because they can take them into all jobs. So what do young people need to do to make that informed career decision about their future careers? Well, we've got a video, it's only about 3 minutes long. It's an animation, it's quite fun to watch, and it tries to show young people what they can be doing to manage their future careers, and takes them through 4 things: knowing themselves, knowing yourself, doing stuff to build your CV and your skills, knowing all your options in some detail, and then using all the people who are around to support you. So I'm just going to run you through how Career Pilot can help young people with those 4 things. So in terms of knowing yourself, we've got a whole section called Start With You. And if students click on that, they'll have lots of activities to help them think about what's important to them and where it might lead. So for example, they could do the job quiz and find out what job sectors might suit them. Or start with a subject and see where that might lead, or a value that's important to them. We also have a skills quiz. So I'm just going to show you a few of these things. So they could start with a subject. There's 31 subjects on our site, and if they choose one, like computing, they'll get ideas of jobs, degree courses, apprenticeship vacancies, and vocational courses at college, just to give them a flavour. But they'll also have tools where they can look at more of those options. They could do the same with values. So it's really important, if you can get a job that connects with what you're passionate about, you often feel happier, more motivated. So it might be, I want to prevent climate change. And then again, you get ideas of the sort of jobs that might be available. Then you can click through and find out a lot about those jobs. So it's all about starting with the individual and showing them the possibilities. They can also do those activities through our jobs area as well. And this is where they can also search for a specific job, or look at job sectors, or green jobs, or some of those things I've already mentioned will be here too. They can look at a sector, and they could drill down to the part of the sector they're most interested in this case environment. Then they find out a bit about environment, and on that big pink box they can look at all the job profiles. So there'll be loads of different profiles of jobs. They can see top line information here, but they can drill down to a job, and then they'll get lots of information about that job, including, is it going to grow? It's really useful for students to start thinking about that, going into a profession that's got legs for the future. And they'll also find out about salaries, what you'll do day to day, which is really useful. Is that job going to be for me? And also routes into this job, and I'll show you a bit more about that as we go through. They can do the skills profile. So it's really important that students know what skills they've got. So in this skills profile, they can tick on a set of questions about things they've done already in their life, their learning, and we'll ask about work if it's post 16. For everything they tick, it tells them what skills they've developed through that activity. All their skills are put in the skills profile. They can add their own examples as well. And when they're ready to apply, they can say, use my skills to apply, say what they're applying for, think about the skills they most need to flag up for that course or that job, and they'll get all their examples there to help them get started. I talked about the career tools, so this is where you can save everything. Those quizzes I've just shown you will be saved here, and they can look at it in a dashboard format, which is a summary of all the things they like, or they can look at a full report, which can be quite comprehensive with a lot of information on them. They could build that up over time. They could change things if they've changed their mind. So in terms of the video, the second thing we mentioned is do stuff. And what we also always say to students, we know your GCSEs, your A-levels, your BTECs, your T-levels, whatever you're doing is a number one priority. But try to hold on to the other things you do as well, because these are the things that make you look different on a CV or an application. So if you're doing work experience or volunteering or hobbies or sports, then stick with them. There's also free online courses, and those might be interesting to do too. It's all about building your CV and evidence of your skills. And I'm just mentioning those skills again here. So there are free online courses from FutureLearn. FutureLearn is like a subsidiary of Open University, but they offer lots of free courses. You don't have to have a degree. You just get on and have a go at doing the courses. They can be a great way to find out about a job area or a course area. Some of them they do charge for if you want a certificate, but quite a lot are still free. So they can be great things for students to find out about becoming a dentist before they apply. But also they look really good in their CV or their personal statement, the fact they've done them. They're like little short courses you just do from home. So FutureLearn is the address of that specific website. Knowing all your options, so that's what we're going to drill down to in this session. So let's get started. All the things I'm going to talk about, as I said, are on Career Palette. We have a section called Your Choices at 16. So there's various pathways students can choose. Sorry, Your Choices at 18. There's various pathways students can choose. You could choose to go straight into work, or you could have a gap year, and you can see they're reflected on the information here. But the ones I'm specifically talking about tonight are university level courses, apprenticeship pathway, and then how you can go into a college at 18 and the courses that will be available there. So just to give you a little bit of feel of the qualification landscape in the UK, there are three pathways: academic, which you'll probably know because of GCSEs or academics or A-levels and quite a lot of degrees. Then vocational, this is a course related to a job area. So it might train you to do a specific job, but it might also be about a job area like business or finance or health and social care. And work-based is when you're being trained within the workplace. So you're employed, if you like, by that company, and they're training you up to do that job. So that's the apprenticeship pathway. There's also a whole range of levels of qualification. They actually go up to level 8. I'm just showing you to level 6. And students who've been doing GCSEs, if they've got 5 GCSEs, grade 4 to 9, they'll have a level 2. So now they're probably on a level 3 qualification. And in the academic pathway, that'd be A levels. But in the vocational pathway, that is technical levels, which are fairly new qualifications, delivered in a college, training you to do a job, but mainly through being in the college with some work placements. But there's also things like BTECs and OCRs at level 3. BTEC and OCRs is the awarding body, and there'll be all sorts of subjects within that. Then at an apprenticeship level, level 3 is an advanced level. So then level 4 is equivalent to the first year of a degree. But you can see it's not just a degree pathway through the academic route. You can start on that through the vocational route, through a higher national certificate or a foundation degree. And in the apprenticeship path, then that's called a higher or degree apprenticeship. Level 5 is equivalent to the second year of degree, and you can see there's still continuing up through the other pathways. And level 6 from any of these pathways is where you get your degree. So you can do things in multiple ways, but if you get up to level 6, you get a degree. So tonight we're mainly talking about this, moving from level 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, and the choices available to young people. So we're going to start with apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are available in these levels. You can see they go right up to level 7, which is a postgraduate level. So we've got level 2 is intermediate, level 3 advanced, level 4, 5, 6, 7, it could be a higher degree, higher or a degree apprenticeship. And they might go up just as far as level 6, or they might go up to level 7. But you have to find one. It's like finding a job, because you're going to be employed by a company who's going to train you. So you have to find a vacancy. So on Career Palette, there's an apprenticeship vacancy tool. Also, if you go to gov.uk, that's the government website where a lot of vacancies are as well, and you can set up alerts. So if there's a particular job you're looking for and it's not there, they can remind you if it becomes available. You can also look at, there's various other sites too. Not going to university, they collate a lot of opportunities. I just put this up because this is as of just a few days ago, and you can see advanced apprenticeships, there's 295 vacancies. But when you go to the higher and degree level, then there's less available. So you do need to bear that in mind. They are very competitive, and often there's quite a long recruitment process. There might be 3 opportunities across the country, and then you have to, get one of those. If you get one, then it's brilliant. But you have to be prepared to put that effort in, and it can be difficult because of the availability. There's another way you can look for apprenticeships through a site called Amazing Apprenticeships, and they do things slightly differently, where they show the big employers and you can click to see what apprenticeships they offer. Because some of the big employers like to advertise their own apprenticeships, not through a vacancy website. So it's always worth doing that as well. One thing to bear in mind with apprenticeships is sometimes you have to go sideways, if you like. So you might have your A levels and then level 3 qualifications, but you might not be able to get onto higher or degree apprenticeship straight off because you might not have the technical knowledge. So if you're progressing from A levels, you'll be doing maths, then you could progress on, I suppose, to accountancy at a higher level. But if you want to do engineering, never done it before, you'd have to go sideways to build up that technical knowledge. So you have to bear those things in mind. So what are the benefits? Well, you're going to be employed and you're going to be paid a wage throughout the course. You're going to get a head start in terms of choosing a job. So a company can train you, maybe then they'll employ you, but even if they don't, you've gained a lot of experience that you can use when you're applying to other places. The costs are covered by government and the employer, so you don't have to pay. So if you're on a higher or degree apprenticeship, you could be getting a degree without paying. It is confusing sometimes, like what's a higher apprenticeship, what's a degree apprenticeship. So just to explain a little bit of that. A higher apprenticeship tends to lead to those higher education qualifications that are like higher national diplomas and foundation degrees, so quite vocational. Where a degree apprenticeship starts off leading towards a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. So the degree apprenticeship might be a bit more time in the university environment, where the higher apprenticeship might be a bit more time practically with a bit of university time or college time. There's a whole range of higher apprenticeships available. I'm just giving you some examples here. Again, you still have to find the vacancies, and some of these sectors will have more opportunities at the higher levels than others. I've put a link in there to Not Going to University, and if you click on that you can begin to see what degree apprenticeships are available now. And what you'll notice, a degree apprenticeship is often something like a management type of job, where a higher apprenticeship might be more practical, like a software engineer. Those are just examples, really. And you do have to be aware that the higher degree apprenticeships might not be available locally. It might be, some company in Derby or whatever who's got the two opportunities. So you have to think whether you're prepared to travel, and then you have to go through competitive recruitment. So let's move on now to routes through college. So at the college, you can do lots of level 1, 2 and 3 courses leading up to this point, but you could then do a level 4 and level 5, which is a foundation degree, first year, second year, or level 4 higher national certificate or higher national degree at level 5. But you can also top up in the third year to get a full degree. So it is a genuine pathway to a degree in 3 years. Foundation degree is a degree that combines both academic and vocational qualifications. And a higher national certificate, higher national diploma, again, is quite vocationally focused. So there's a whole range of job sectors where you can do foundation degrees and higher national certificates and diplomas. One thing the government is doing is trying to develop a robust progression pathway from technical qualifications. So the new T levels and level 3 are now really getting established in colleges. So then you can move on to a higher technical qualification. So some of these foundation degrees, HNCs, HNDs, are now approved to be considered as higher technical qualifications, which mean they meet the standards required by employers. So if you see that little logo against them, they are considered to be higher technical qualifications. One thing about this pathway into college through these particular courses, often there's lower fees in the university. You can apply for a loan for your tuition fees just like university, but you could be paying less. And often you will need lower grades than going to a university. Also, the colleges will have progression courses from level 1, 2, 3 within the college environment. So if you're in college, there's often a level 4 and 5 and 6 pathway from the course you're doing at a college. So then the big pathway that probably we know most about is degrees at university. And here you end up with thousands of courses and 130 universities. So how to make the decision? Well, as careers practitioners, what we would always say to young people, you decide first what course you want to do, because you're going to spend 3 or 4 years doing that course. So it's important to get that as near to what you're interested in as possible. And the way you can do that, you can think about those things I mentioned earlier. What fires you up? What are you interested in? What are your values? You could start with a job and look at what the job requires, and that will tell you what pathways you need to take to get that job. Or you could just stay broad and stay with a particular subject you're passionate about, and it could be any subject, and then do that at university and then look for work later. And just be aware that employers want people with degrees of any sort. So if you've done a history degree or whatever it might be, there's still opportunities with employers. It's called graduate employment opportunities. So you might end up working in business or marketing or some other job situation. So having decided what course to do, and we've got a whole section about that on Career Pilot, you then need to find those courses, who offers that course, and compare them, and think of yourself as a customer. Be aware that courses with exactly the same names can be quite different at different universities. So we always say to students to look at the modules. Do they give you what you want? You can also see how much coursework or exams that will be required, and they can be quite different as well. So you can match yourself to the course that sounds a bit more like you. You also, as a student, need to think, well, what have I got to offer? So this is called the UCAS tariff points. So UCAS is where you apply for university, but they've also got a tariff system. And what that means is they've worked out how many points you get for every qualification you're doing. So for example, if you get an A star, you'll get 56 points. If you get an A, you get 48. And there's points for everything, for T levels and also any vocational courses you might be doing. And quite a lot of universities will say how many tariff points you need to get onto that course, or they might specify grades in some cases as well. So it's important you understand what you're coming in with. You need also to think about the other things like accommodation cost, student satisfaction. What are other people saying about that course? You could go to a local university to save money. You could consider those college routes. There's also the Open University, which is where you do everything online. It does take longer to do that, but for some people that actually suits them very well because they can work and study at the same time. You will want to know about the money available to support students through the university route. So we've got a whole section on Career Path called Money Matters, and if you go there you'll find out more about what you can expect to get loaned to you by the government to cover course fees, but also to cover maintenance, keeping you going, your accommodation and your food, etc. And on that subject, it's really important to explore the details of where you're going to be, your location as well. What is the average student rent per week? Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but the 2023 figures show the average rent as being £161 a week. And that varies quite a lot in different cities. So you might want to take that into account as well. There's some very expensive places like London, but there might be cheaper places as well. And ask the question, does it include rent? Does it include bills like Wi-Fi, and other things you might have to pay for? That's important. First year, students usually get placed in hall, and all those additional things are covered by the fee you have to pay to them. But when they move out in the second year, then it's really important to ask that question. And I've just put this up here, which is the student living cost per month across the UK, and you can see that most of it is orange, so it's quite similar in most of the country, but there are some places which are cheaper, the green bits, and then in the middle you'll find those sort of yellowy places as well. And London, of course, is red, as you can imagine. That's where you'll have to pay more per month to live in London. So just a few little things about choosing university courses. For certain things like dentistry, medicine, vet science, you need to do a specific degree, and you might need to do specific A-level, certainly science type subjects, and they will take longer than the 3-year degree because they take 5 to 7 years depending what aspect you're into. Interestingly, there is now going to be an apprenticeship route into medical doctor. So that is something that would happen within the hospital environment. Maybe you're already a medical practitioner, like a paramedic or a nurse, and you might get an opportunity to train as a medical doctor within their hospital environment. So there are different routes opening up. I think they're quite small amounts at the moment, but that might well grow. The other thing to bear in mind is you can do any degree, and sometimes you can convert it to something else by doing an additional year, like a 4th year, which is called postgraduate. So you get your degree and then you do another year. So you could convert your degree, like geography, into a teaching course. So you could do 1 year of teaching after your geography, and then you're a qualified teacher. You could do the same with psychology, physiotherapy, law. So it sometimes doesn't matter what first degree you do, because there's the opportunity to convert them into other things later. So as I said before, many careers do want a higher degree qualification. Often they aren't specifying the subject. Sometimes they are, but often you can get, it's a good way into the employment market saying you've got a degree of any sort. I just want to show you how you can use different ways to get to the same place, because there are lots of opportunities to do that. So for example, if you think about nursing, at level 3, students could be doing A-levels, including biology, level 3 BTEC in the college, maybe in health and social care, or a T-level in adult nursing. So there's lots of different pathways. But then all of them could choose to do a 3-year nursing degree and be a qualified nurse, or they could choose to do a 2-year trainee nurse associate apprenticeship in a hospital, and that would give them a foundation degree. And then they could do a 2-year nursing degree apprenticeship at level 6. So it takes 4 years, but they both get to the same place. And one pathway might suit one person really well, and the other pathway might be the preference for somebody else. So there's often multiple ways to get to where you want to go. So how do you find out what routes there are into a job? If that's the way you're going to decide on a course or an apprenticeship or whatever it might be, how do you find all that out? Because there's so many different jobs and they're all slightly different in terms of what they want. Well, fortunately, a lot of that is on Career Pilot. So if we go to the jobs part that we were looking at earlier, you can look for a specific job or look at a sector. When you get to the job profile, it'll tell you a lot about that job. This one's Cyber Intelligence Officer, so it's telling me the salary, is it going to grow, how much will I earn. But if you click on routes into this job, it's going to tell me specifically how I become a Cyber Intelligence Officer. So for example, it's saying here it's a university route. It's also telling me what subjects it's worth me doing if I want to do that job in the future. Computer science, cybersecurity, maths, network engineer. And it is telling me the requirements earlier on as well, 2 to 3 A levels or equivalent, a degree in a relevant subject for postgraduate study. But it's also showing me there's an apprenticeship pathway, and it's telling me what the apprenticeships are called so I can search for those to see if they're available. Bearing in mind that we know that is a competitive market through the apprenticeship pathway, but if you can get one, they're brilliant, as you can see. So all the jobs, we've got over 800 jobs in Career Pilot, will have this information. So if a student has got a job in mind, they can actually look at the pathway they need to consider in order to get there. How do I find a course? Well, there's lots of course search sites. You will have heard of UCAS, which is where they apply, but we also have a course search on Career Pilot, so it's a great place to get started. You can search for courses, you can look at 16 to 19 providers and see what they offer. You can look at degree courses and also apprenticeship vacancies. So you put in the details. I've put in business, put my postcode, how far I'm prepared to travel, and now I've got a short list of all the courses working away from that postcode. So you can see University Bath, Bath Spa University, and there'll be lots of pages of things related to business. What you'll also notice is it's not just business, there's business and management, professional practice, and there'll be loads of other flavours of business as well. So you can really drill down to the bit you're particularly interested in. You'll notice too is starting to mention UCAS points, so you can begin to think, well, which of these courses could I apply to because I've got my predicted grades, I know what UCAS points I'm going to have. And you can click on any of these and find out a lot about the course. It'll take you straight to the course page, so you can actually really drill down to find out what that course involves. So we're almost at the end. Top 5 things for Year 12 students to consider. What we would say is they need to ask themselves, do I know what sort of career I would like to do? If they do, they can look at the job profile and get an idea of how they would get there. Have they looked at all the different options at 18? Do they want to get out to work quite soon, or are they happy to stay in further study? Do they want to go to university, or are they thinking of other ways of doing things after they leave school or college? Am I unsure which option I want to do next? And I would say if they are unsure after looking into it and really researching the options, then I would suggest you ask the school if you can have a one-to-one careers guidance session, and that should help you because those people are professionally trained to think about the different options or how to stay broad so you've got lots of options later. So those are the things we would suggest that they do. In terms of exploring options, I mentioned Career Pilot quite a few times. The second stage of our decision-making model is explore your options. And if you go there, you can see there's things about Choices 18, which will show the pathways. They can search for jobs, courses, apprenticeship vacancies. So it's just another way into the information. And in terms of going back to the video I mentioned some time ago, the fourth thing that was mentioned is helping students to understand that is support available and for them not to be afraid to ask. So there's people like the family, teachers, careers advisors, Career Pilot is there as well until they're 20. So what else is there to help you as parents? Well, on Career Pilot we have a parent zone, which is here. You don't need to register, you can go in and use it straight away. And here you can choose a particular section like Choices 18, and then you'll get answers to questions that parents are often asking. So what would university offer and should my child go, as an example? And then we've tried to write a an answer which is straightforward with lots of additional links if you want to know more. So there's the Parent Zone address, but you can just go to the homepage careerpilot.org.uk and click on that turquoise tab to get to the Parent Zone. So what else? I would say make sure your child has a CareerPilot account. They might have done that through school already, but if they haven't, you can help them to do that. Just show them where to do it. They go to register on the main website, and even if they're not done through school, they can register and add themselves to that school. And they own their account until they're 20. So it might be that they set this up with a personal email account, and then if they move to a different environment, they could change their email address later in their account on CareerPilot. So if you're feeling inspired, think you wouldn't mind getting back into education, we do have an adult version of CareerPilot called LifePilot, and that's trying to help adults see how they can get started and get back into learning, or how they can progress to a degree if they're at that point. But it might be you haven't got many qualifications, you want to get more qualifications, or you want a career change after having children, or a period of unemployment or whatever. We're just trying to show you how you can get back into things, and there's lots of advice and support. Quite a lot of the tools we have on CareerPilot are also on LifePilot. So thank you for listening to this webinar. We will be sending you a feedback survey when we send this recording out, so it'd be great if you could complete that. And don't forget careerpilot.org.uk. So thank you so much for listening. Good luck.